Welcome to Dragonfly Trading. Today's video is going to be on Bitcoin, ETH, the DXY, and then I have two requests that I'll do at the end for people that are not interested in those. And one is called SNX, and the other one can't really pronounce. But those will be at the end for those of you that are not interested in those coins. But the people that requested them, I am going to do those for them. So we're going to start out on Bitcoin and talk about this current wave we're in here. And last video, we talked about the expanded B pocket. So the expanded B pocket is basically a B wave that surpasses the start of the A wave. And that happens in two flats. There's three flats in Elliott wave, and it only happens in two of them. The expanded B pocket is right at the 1.382 and the 1.236. And it's raining. Can't believe it. Every time I make a video, it starts pouring. I will speak up louder. So the invalidation point for an expanded B is the 1.618. And you basically pull it from the start of the A wave to the bottom. So in a regular flat, the B wave does not surpass the start of the A. This one is here just for teaching purposes. So the B wave does not surpass the start of the A, and the C wave hits the 1-to-1, the 1.236, or the 1.382, the corrective fib levels. Then we have what's called a running flat. The running flat is the more bullish flat. That's what we had right here. We had an A wave that came down, we had a B wave that went above it, and then a C wave that was short. That is the bullish flat. So basically the A wave comes down, the B wave goes up into this pocket, does not hit the 1.618, and then the C wave comes down to the 618. And then the last one is called the expanded flat. And in the expanded flat, it does the same thing. It comes up into the pocket, but the C wave is much longer. It hits the 1.618. It surpasses the A, and I have seen them go all the way to the 2.618. These type of flats happen more at the top of a run. If we go back to 2000, let me go back there real quick. Right here. So this was a big expanded flat. Just for purposes here to show you what they look like. We had an A, we had a B that surpassed this, and then we had the C wave that surpassed the bottom. That's an expanded flat. But they more happen at the top of a third wave or the fifth. They usually happen at the top of the fifth. So this was just for learning purposes, and we will go down a time frame and talk about the current correction we're in. So in all my videos, I've been saying that this doesn't make sense to me, but it is what it is. So really, the only thing that we can call this is, if we're going to be bullish, is a W, an X, a Y, an X, and a Z. And the correction ended here. I have seen multiple people trying to call this a triangle. Okay? They want to say this was some type of triangle, like this, or however they're drawing it. Triangles never ever have lower highs and lower lows. Triangles always contract in price. So basically, if this was going to be a triangle, it would have done this, and we would have had higher lows. Okay? And then it would have broke out. So it's not a triangle. And also, triangles, you have to be able to draw them also in your RSI. Okay? The RSI has to contract just like the triangle, or it's not a true triangle. Can it break out the way you intended it to? Yes, absolutely. You can, draw your line here and project. If it goes out the top, this is my target. If it goes out the bottom, this is my target. When you see price contracting. But this here it's not a triangle. It was bugging me, and I had to go over that. So we're going to call it a WXYXZ. So what do we have going on here? Well, if the correction ended here, and this is going to be bullish, we're not quite to the 1.618 yet. And that's where a third wave needs to hit. So what I believe, if we're going to be bullish, is we need a 1, a 2. We're in a sub-degree fourth wave here. We need a 5. Then we're going to get another correction for a 4 that probably will come somewhere in this area. And then we'll go up for our 5th to the 2.236 is the usual target if it doesn't get overextended. Now, say we get to the 1.618, we get rejected really hard, and we come back into this area right here. We don't want to break that. Then if that happens, I'm calling this either an ABC like this, it doesn't really matter too much, or it's just an ABC like this. These lows are pretty much not much of a difference there. And this was a WXY. And that at that point is going to give us an A, our expanded B, and then we have to see if we get the 618 flat, which will be the more bullish flat, or we get the more deeper flat. Let's take a look at some indicators real quick and see what we have happening. Let's go up to the weekly. On the weekly time frame, we are creating divergence between these 2 points. The week has 2 more days in it. And actually, until we actually see a pivot here, we can't really confirm this divergence, because as you can see, we've had, you know, the last week's candle was creating divergence. So we need to see a pivot, and once it pivots, then the divergence is true. Daily. So the daily time frame, same thing. This is more convincing because it's at the top of the band here, and it's pivoted a little bit. So this divergence here makes me believe that we need a reset. I do not want to see the reset go past the 50 or the 40. This is off over here, and I haven't been able to figure out why, but this line is supposed to be 70, this line is supposed to be 50, and this line is supposed to be 30. And it actually is, but the problem is in the numbers over here, and I don't know what's wrong with it. But I don't want to see us, you know, break lower than here. When we correct, you know, if we hold this 50 line and create divergence, that would be wonderful. But we do have divergence being created here, which leads me more to believe that we are possibly going to get that running flat, where we get the C wave down, does not break the bottom, but yet the RSI comes all the way down. But we'll have to wait and see on that. 8 hour. 8 hour, same thing. We're creating divergence. So we got bearish divergence, but this is sitting, it's holding support right now on this middle band. If you don't know what this indicator is, if this is the first time ever watching my videos, you can get a free strategy and the link below from my website. This is the only indicator I use anymore because it gives the perfect signals right here. And this is on the 8 hour. We had an entry to go long. All these entries where it hit the band were long entries. And this is on the 8 hour. If you go down in time frame, you get more entries. 4 hour, you had multiple entries. And as you can see, they're in the same area. Let's move on to the DXY, because Bitcoin and the DXY, as far as I can tell, are still having an inverse relationship, meaning that when Bitcoin rises, the DXY falls, or vice versa. When the DXY rises, Bitcoin falls. So the DXY, and let's go out to a weekly so I can show you what's really happening here. We had this falling wedge, and then we broke out of it, and we didn't break the top here. And now we have another falling wedge. The overall count, which this is way up on the weekly time frame, can be that this, well, I guess I'll get into it, but it's not that important. What's important, the only thing important, because that would be so far away, there's no need to talk about it right now, is that I expect us to complete a fifth wave here, and then I expect us to break out of this wedge, just like we did here. Now, whether we'll get an extension of this leg to the upside is to be determined and a ways away. That would be weeks away. But we'll go down on the 4 hour. And where we're at right now is where we completed the third here. We had an ABC up for a 4. And now this looks like we're in the first leg of the fifth. So we do have downside to come. which if they're going to keep their inverse relationship, that would mean Bitcoin has more upside to come. But when the DXY completes this first wave here, it's going to give a push to the upside. And maybe that's when Bitcoin will have its rest of its correction, or we'll have to wait and see. Let's go over to ETH. So ETH has been in this channel basically until it broke out up here. Now this is on long. If you go on linear, as you can see, this channel doesn't work at all. So regardless of the channel, what I see here is this wedgy looking upwards movement. And it's continued to be in this wedgy upper movement. And while we're up here on the daily, we'll take a look at the indicator, and we have the bearish divergence. And it's almost to the top of the band. So typical traders would want to call this a rising wedge. And rising wedges usually break to the downside. Let's go down to the 4-hour and take a look at this. Now, I don't really see it as a ending diagonal. Maybe. It could be. And the reason I say that is because of how this is overlapping. Like this correction overlapped this correction. So the only way that this could really take off in a bullish manner is if somehow this correction ended here. And when I pull a fib, for that to be true, even if I pull it from the top, it doesn't work. So ETH has kind of been an anomaly to me. See how it didn't hit the 618? But Bitcoin did the exact same thing in its correction. It did not come down to the 618. So it is possible, not going to say it's impossible, it is possible it somehow ended here. I do see a legitimate possible triangle here. And I went over this last time. But the triangle doesn't make any sense to me. I can't make it fit in any Elliott wave count other than this being an A, a B, and a C. And it doesn't make sense either because we've gone past the expanded B pocket. So for this to be, see, we've gone past it. So for an A, B, C to the upside, that's out. So the only thing I can really think of is that we're making some type of wedge here, an ending diagonal of some sort. And where it actually begins, I'm not sure. But say the correction ended here, okay? The correction ended here. We do have 5 waves to the upside. So to me, this looks like a 4th wave. And if we're calling this a wave 1 and a wave 2, this wave 4 overlapped it. Or it came very close. I guess it didn't quite overlap it. But when we take a measurement of that, if we're going to call this a wave 1 and a 2, we're nowhere near the 1.618 yet. So I'm not afraid to admit ETH has been a challenge for me. It's just been a total challenge. So at the moment, I am just not trading it. There's nothing wrong with not trading something that you don't completely know the direction. Until I get some clear direction on ETH, I'm just not trading it. Until I get a clear break, like a third wave again or something like that, I'm just watching it and staying out. Because we do have the divergence happening, and it looks like it's topping. So I'm sorry that I don't have a 100% count for you today, but I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not afraid to say that I don't know. So let's move on to the request, which was SNX. SNX, I don't have a lot of data to go with because it just started in October. But it looks good. It looks like a wave 1, a wave 2. We've hit a wave 3. We've created a wave 4. And looks like it wants to go up for wave 5 for a third wave. We've got a nice trend line going here. As long as it continues to hold this trend line, I would say once it gets up to the 2.618, we're going to get a bigger correction for a fourth. And the fourth will want to come into either the top of this fourth or into this fourth wave territory. So once you see a break of this trend line, that would be my clue that this is giving us a fourth wave, if it's going to continue higher. You definitely don't want to see it break this fourth wave territory here when it does give you the bigger correction. On the daily, the same divergence as we have in Bitcoin and ETH. And this is going to follow them. Bitcoin pumps, the alts pump. Bitcoin goes sideways, the alts have a chance to pump. But Bitcoin dumps, the alts dump. On the 4-hour time frame, if you're not in this asset yet and you're looking to trade it, I would wait for it to come down, touch this trend line again, and I would only be looking for longs. I would not try to short it. It's been in a nice uptrend. And I strongly believe it's going for the 2.618 for its third wave. The other request was however you pronounce that. So on the weekly time frame, not much to go on, of course, but it's been a nice one here. So on the daily, if we get off of long scale and we just look at it on regular scale, we can clearly see that somewhere down here there was a 1, 2, probably right here, 1, 2, and then this is a 1, a 2, it hit its third, and we are consolidating in a fourth wave here, and it should go on up for a fifth. This is definitely a fourth wave. Now, we do not want to come into this red line here. We do not want to break this red line if we want to see more upside, more bullish momentum. Let's go down to the 4 hour. So this is our red line. This was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we started this correction here. And it looks to me like we had, so far, an A, B, and a C. Then we've had a flat here, an A, a B, and this might be the C up here. So basically, let's take a measurement on this. I would like to see it hold the 618 and give us a running flat. I don't want to see it come down to the 1-to-1. So basically, we want to see a running flat that looks like this. And then we take off again. Because if we come down into our wave 1, we've invalidated this as more upside. I hope that helped the people that requested those. And if anyone else has a request for an altcoin, or they would like for me to chart, put it in the comments below. And I appreciate every single one of you. And I'm sorry I did not have a more positive direction on ETH, but I think that it's getting toppy. I really think it's getting toppy here. And this was a fourth. We may push up higher for a fifth, but then I think we're looking for a bigger correction down into this fourth wave territory. Hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. I appreciate every one of you.